What's going on, guys? Thank you for coming in to this week's episode. We got a lot to talk about, actually. So, Space Jam, first things first. I've never seen it. I didn't watch it. And here's why. I heard it was trash. Elite?
Trash.
Trash.
Double
Okay,
trash.
Okay. First off, I know nothing about basketball. We'll get into that later. Okay. Should I even watch this movie? Is the question of the day. I don't think I've ever seen a Michael B. Jordan game.
Well, it's not Michael B. Jordan. It's just Michael Jordan. Michael B. Jordan.
No, I know.
Actor.
Michael B. Jordan is the actor. Yes, I know.
Okay, so
actor.
first of all, the man's name is Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Put some fucking respect on that name, okay? First of all right, he's the man.
My fault. Jeffrey. Forgot about Jeffrey.
Now that movie, it's kind of hilarious because I saw the movie. Me and Jack watched it the day it came out, and we're like, okay, we'll give it. I'll be honest, if it wasn't on HBO Max, I wouldn't have watched it at all. So it was free, so I watched it.
Okay, so I've never even seen Space Jam, but my little brother, who doesn't even like basketball, is over here telling me to go watch it. I don't know why, dude. It's like, but what else is out there? Snake Eyes is out there. Who's gonna watch Snake Eyes?
So
actually, I am.
Space Jam.
Uh-huh.
The original Space Jam was very entertaining. It was a good movie. And the original director of Space Jam put it best. He literally came out and said, I couldn't watch that movie in one sitting. It took me several sittings to get through the whole movie. It was that bad.
For the original or the new one?
The new one.
Oh, wow.
And it was that bad. Literally, I started to fall asleep. I started to fall asleep halfway through and got up, had to get a drink, come back. And it's not the same. And it's not the same. And it's not the same probably because I'm older, but it's a new Bugs Bunny voice. Doesn't even sound like Bugs Bunny. It's just a lot of the characters in there weren't really like Looney Toony characters. It was kind of cool. The one thing that was kind of cool is Warner Brothers put a lot of people in there like Batman and Robin and Superman. So they all made cameos. So that was kind of cool. I think if I'm not mistaken, I saw Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, let me add something real quick. So I haven't seen the new Space Jam, and what I liked about the original one was like the plot made sense because at the time, Anthony doesn't know this, Michael Jordan had briefly retired from the game of basketball. So in the movie the original Space Jam, the Looney Tunes, they are being threatened by some alien guy. They're like, I'm gonna put you in my intergalactic zoo. And he's like, oh, but he's like, to stop you, if you win in a game of basketball, like, if you beat my guys in a game of basketball, you guys won't have to be in a zoo. So they're like, okay, well, let's get the greatest basketball player of all time to help us. And then Michael Jordan's like, I'm sorry, guys, I can't help you because I'm retired. Like, there's like, I don't play basketball anymore. I play baseball. And so like that plot like makes sense because it was just perfect timing too. And then in real life, yeah, Michael, like he briefly came back and then like the Bulls got knocked out. And then that's when Michael Jordan went to go film Space Jam. But I mean, it made sense. And then I'm not sure what the new plot of Space Jam 2 is.
Yeah, basically they flipped it. It's just the son got kidnapped. It was stupid.
War Machine apparently is a bad guy.
Yeah, and then my problem was like I know they're trying to be like cool and like all nostalgic by putting all these like characters in, but I feel like Warner Brothers is just using leftover Ready Player One elements and like and like we have all this elements from the movie Ready Player One. Like let's just put in Space Jam.
Yeah, I agree on Brunner on that. They're just like,
it was a bad movie.
Yeah, they knew it was bad, and that's why they did that. They're like, okay, did they actually add Rick and Morty, or is that just me?
I have no idea.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I think that I don't remember. There was a ton of but they were like, when I say cameos, they were like in the audience watching a basketball game. It wasn't like they had spoken words, you know? So it was kind of weird. Just in general, the whole thing was kind of garbage. It, I get
LeBron
the
James
vibe.
acting, right?
No, he wasn't that bad an actor, to be honest with you. But the vibe that I get, and I hate to say this because if LeBron James was LeBron James and just didn't try so hard, then maybe I would have a lot more respect for him. But the reality is, what I always feel like is he's trying to do everything he can to say, I'm better than Mike. So Michael made a movie, I got to make a movie. Michael did this, I got to do that. When they're just totally two different people. It's totally two different times. Like it's amazing. I was following a guy on Twitter and somebody popped in and I thought it was hilarious as they said, they were like, what happened if LeBron James played in Michael Jordan's time? And the guy was like, somebody tweeted, nothing, because he would have cried and quit the first game. And it's just like you look at these games, it's kind of like looking at the finals. We just had the finals. It just ended. I'm very disappointed the Bucks won. And I'm like, I look at the whole thing and I'm like, the best team in basketball, and everybody knew it, was the Brooklyn Nets. That was the best team in basketball. And again, they got lucky. The Bucks got lucky with injuries. The injury bug caught the Nets, and it is what it is. And they go on, and then they go on. They shouldn't have beat the Suns. There was shitty ref calling.
The game was officiated by Scott Foster. You probably heard that name pop up a couple times. And they said in Chris Paul's career, in his playoff career, every time he's been officiated, Scott Foster has officiated Chris Paul's playoff games, or playoff series 12 times. And I think this will be 13 now. Yeah, 0 for 12. Now he's 0 for 13. And going back to your point on LeBron and Michael Jordan comparisons, I think like LeBron, I like him, but not as much as the praise he gets, because like some of the stuff he does do like is amazing. If it was me, I would just try to differentiate myself. Like that's what he needs to do. He needs to differentiate himself between MJ and himself. Cause like a lot of times like it's like people are like, oh, Jordan's the GOAT or LeBron's the GOAT. Well, I think Kobe gets left out because Kobe and MJ are very similar. So that's why, Kobe gets left out and it's always like, LeBron or MJ.
So let me ask you a question. Brunner. You're a big basketball guy. You watch a lot of basketball. Me and you have this conversation. What's your Mount Rushmore of basketball? Who's your top four?
That's a very good question.
Ever to play the game. Who's your top four?
Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Tim Duncan, and Magic Johnson.
No Kobe.
Okay. So for me, I sit there and I'm saying, okay, I look at it differently. If I was going to say the Mount Rushmore, I think the person who gets the least amount of respect and is always the forgotten guy. First guy I'm going to start with is the all-time leading scorer, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
He's probably the most dominating basketball player ever to play the game.
I'll swap out my Magic and put Kareem.
Okay. And I think Kareem Abdul-Jabbar needs more respect. Then you have Michael Jeffrey Jordan. You have to put him in there. I mean, geez, I know his middle name. That's how much respect he gets. Then I look at it and then it starts to get a little tough for me. I sit and think Larry Joe Bird.
I was about to say that actually.
To me is one of the greatest players ever to play basketball. And I think about him. If he would play in today's game, that man would be putting up 55 points a game. Done. Okay. And then my fourth person I have to say is LeBron James. And I think LeBron James, because he really kind of is the guy who kind of carried that torch. Now, do I think LeBron James is the best forward ever to play the game? No, I don't. Okay, I think the best. If I'm going to look at it, I'm going to say, okay, who's the best power forward ever to play the game? That's Tim Duncan, by far. It's Mr. Fundamentals. He's exactly what you wanted in a player. Everything about him. If I was going to say the harder thing to really kind of say is who's going to be on your starting five, and you had to play true positions. You have to play true positions. And I'm going to say at that point, I'm going to say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar as my center. I'm taking Michael Jordan as my shooting guard. I'm taking as my point guard. I'm going to take Isaiah Thomas, Detroit Pistons Isaiah Thomas. I'm going to take for my power forward, I'm going to take Tim Duncan, and for my small forward, I'm going to take Larry Bird. That's the five I'm going to go out there with. Let's see what happens. That's my theory.
Yeah, and then to Anthony's point, like I said, no Kobe Bryant, and I saw a comment on me and Elite. We follow this guy on YouTube. He's Clayton Crowley or whatever it's called. Remember his YouTube series? Like, in my opinion, these are the best basketball players of all time. And then because he left out Michael Jordan, not Michael Jordan, he left out Kobe Bryant, and then he made a video talking about it. And I think somebody in the comments said it perfectly, where it said Michael Jordan was the blueprint and Kobe Bryant was the finished product.
I agree with that. Absolutely. And I think too, the other thing, and this is, I'm not trying to be mean, if Kobe didn't die in such a horrific way, what happened is when Kobe died, all of a sudden he was elevated to God status. Okay. Kobe Bryant is absolutely a Hall of Fame player. How many people have 2 numbers retired? Okay. Literally, the guy's a beast. But I think I look at it and I'm like, do I think Kobe Bryant's a top 10 player? I think he's probably in the top 15, but I don't think he's a top 10 player.
Oh.
And it's just, again, I'm older and I sit there and look at it is I could sit there and say, like you just said, the blueprint was Michael Jordan. That's the blueprint. So if I'm looking at a team and I'm looking at players in order, Michael Jordan to me is the best player who's ever put a pair of sneakers on and went and bounced a ball. I seen that man. I literally seen that man do things no one ever did before him. Okay. So then what happens is Kobe will be the first one to sit there, and there's an interview with him saying is he watched everything Michael did, and he did the exact same thing. He basically copied. He was Michael 2.1.
All right, let me ask you this: where do you rank him in the top 15 then?
I'd probably put him around. He's probably 11, 12.
All right, and so who's 10?
Okay, so literally, you go through that list. You're going to go. Number 1 is going to be Michael Jordan. Number 2, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 3 is going to be Larry Bird, in my opinion, because Larry Bird and Magic Johnson saved the game.
Oh, yeah.
There's stuff they did on the court and off the court that they saved the game of basketball. It was going bankrupt until those two came in. Okay. Number 4, I'm going to put LeBron James. Number 5,
over Kobe Bryant.
Over Kobe Bryant.
Wow.
Okay. Number 5 is going to be Irvin Magic Johnson, probably the best point guard that stood 6'9" I've ever seen in my life. Okay. Then you're going to figure in there. Now you start to think about other people. You got to think about Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. They're going to fall in that category. Then you think about people like, honestly, you have to start thinking about George Mikan. And you guys are like, who the hell is George Mikan?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I know.
First greatest big man ever to play the game. He's in that list.
Super.
So, I mean, he might squeak in my 10, but if he's not in my 10, he's right outside at 11. And literally, I have to sit and look at Shaquille O'Neal. Probably the most dominant center
man in the 2000s.
I ever seen in my life. I mean, I literally saw that guy live rip a friggin' goal. The goal broke at the post, not the friggin' rim falling off. He broke the goddamn post, the hydraulics on the damn thing. So
that's when he was light too. Not when he was 300 pounds.
He was like a rookie.
He was still running up and down the court.
And so literally, so that's what I kind of sit and say. Kobe is amazing. And do not get me wrong. I am not trying to throw any shade on Kobe Bryant. I'm just saying that when I look at Kobe, again, I'm an older head. You also have to look at where's Julius Erving fall in there. Where's the Iceman George Gervin fall in there? Where does literally I have so many players I could sit and rattle off. The Bad Boy Pistons. I mean, where's Spider Sally? These guys were all amazing players. Amazing players. Or you have to look at players, honestly, now you got me rolling because now you got to look at players like what about players like
hold on.
Chris Webber,
we got
Chris Mullin.
Let's pick them up.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to add, Anthony has no idea what you're talking about. The names you just read off.
Yeah.
Like,
first off, yeah.
No, and then number two,
I don't know what they mean.
And see, that's my point. Is you say that Kobe, how is he not in my top 10? Because you don't dick about basketball.
Well, I was going to ask Brunner, where's he in his top 10?
Well, we could go down my top 10, but I want to transition because there's a certain person in this podcast who just became a Suns fan recently, and I want to get his opinion of his poor Suns losing.
Okay, here's how I feel about the Suns losing. Wow. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. It kind of sucks, but I'm not, again, like we said, I don't know jack shit about basketball. Doesn't hurt too much. I did want to see him win because I was reading up about it. I heard Chris Paul, this is his first championship, correct?
Yeah.
Going to is the championship, right? The finals. What do you guys say? So, I mean, there's always next year, man. There's always next year, but I honestly don't think Chris Paul's going to be the same. I don't know about you guys.
All right, so I was thinking, like, I didn't want the Bucks to win because Packer fans are Bucks fans, and there's some Packer fans like just saying nasty things about Aaron Rodgers, the person who won them a Super Bowl, who they should be thankful for. And so I'm like, I really don't want them to win, but they added Drew Holiday, and I was always a Drew Holiday fan, even when he was in New Orleans, because I'm like, you have Rudy Gobert who's winning like Defense Player of the Year, like back to back. He's winning it because he's 7 feet tall and has a 7-foot wingspan. Where Drew Holiday is a guard, putting in work, locking up the guards, and putting more effort than all Rudy Gobert is doing is just that. That's all he has to do, and he wins Defensive Player of the Year. Am I right, Elite?
Yeah, it's funny is that I look at it and I sit and say, I feel bad because the Suns, if I'm not mistaken, I think they've only been to the finals twice. Once they had a roll in and see a team called the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan. And that team, they may have,
that was the first time they went to the finals. It was Charles Barkley and Danny Ainge was on that team.
Because they couldn't get past because they couldn't get past the Jazz. The Jazz is who kept winning the West then. And then all of a sudden, now you fast forward, they're at where they are now. Unfortunately, I personally think next year they're not going to be in the finals again. I don't think. One is I think that the Nets are going to go pick up a couple players, and they're really going to do the super team thing right, and probably come back with like 8 Hall of Famers.
Down.
There's also a big rumor. There's also a big rumor that the Trailblazers are going to get broken up. That Dame might be going somewhere. So now, if they can make the right moves, I don't know salary cap. I'd have to look it up, etc. So I don't know what they have for contracts. If they could go pick up a Dame Lillard, or they could go pick up a CJ McCollum, or they could go pick up, I think they were one piece away. The part that I don't understand with the Bucks is I'm not on the Giannis train. I'm not a fan of Giannis. Okay.
Really?
I think you basically have, I'm a fundamentalist, I guess is the best way to kind of sit and say. I don't like the fact that the man can't hit his way out of free throws out of a boat. The guy is horrible at shooting free throws. And my thought process is, you're that bad, that's where you start work. And he doesn't do it. And I just don't like him. He's a good defensive player. Do not get me wrong. I think he's a great defensive player. But I just don't like him carrying it. And other than Chris Middleton, You know, you brought up Drew Holiday. That's his first year in Milwaukee, I believe.
Yeah,
And
they got him in a trade. Yeah.
so you look, other than Middleton, I'm going to be hard pressed to sit and name 3 or 4 guys on that team. It's they don't have superstars on that team, and I don't know honestly if Brooklyn didn't get hurt, they barely got by the Celtics. So literally they got lucky because the East was kind of weak. Honestly, I think Utah or the Phoenix should have won this year. That's my gut.
Yeah, I really wanted Phoenix to win. I had been a somewhat Suns fan because I'm a Spurs fan at heart, and like back elite, you remember early 2000s, like the West was nasty, like nothing but
Very
talent in the
nasty.
West. And then so like when it was like Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, Grant Hill, and there's another player who played for him. He's French. I can't remember his name, but like I really wanted Suns to win because I was a Steve Nash fan too. And so, it never happened, unfortunately. And so I'm like, yeah, I'm like, now this is the year. I'm like, somehow, like the right pieces have fallen into place. And I'm like, this is it. And then on the Bucks, when I watch the Bucks, I think I'm like, well, who could I compare them now? Like back in the day. And of I think I'd compare them to the bad boy Pistons because nobody likes them. Like, not a lot of NBA
Yeah.
players like Giannis is a real down to earth guy, but like players just don't like him.
I like him, yeah.
Well, I think the thing too is like you look at it and I sit there and I'm like, I think it's just because the Bucks are the Bucks. It's the Bucks, man. I mean, you play in Milwaukee, arguably probably the shittiest town to play in
Yeah.
Wow.
outside of OKC.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what are you gonna do there? There's shit to do unless you like to drink beer. It's for me, I look at it, I'm like, I don't get it, and I think they got a lot of love from the NBA, and I'm gonna stand by that. Ever since Silver took over the NBA, something I've noticed that I really, really don't like is I think there's way too much officiating making decisions of games. I
Yes.
think that there's not consistency of how games are called. I think that it's personally by whoever's going to get the better ratings. The NBA this year did not want a super team to win. They did not want a super team to win. And if you look at those Brooklyn Nets games, even with injuries and Harden shooting like crap when he came back, they should have won those games. Except look at the differential of how the calls were. It was just massive, massive, massive one-way calls. And last year, the same thing happened with Toronto. Remember, Toronto was getting all these lovely. I mean, 2 years ago, Toronto was getting all these lovely calls to help Kawhi Leonard, and it was
Mhm.
like, it to me is I'm sick and tired of it. You don't go to 10 straight championship games like LeBron James did without help from calls. And it's literally, think about that one. Nobody in the history has ever gone 10 straight championship games. Michael Jordan didn't do it. Kareem didn't do it. I mean, we're talking legends. Didn't do it. Oh, but we're supposed to be like, oh, that's a really great job. How many did you win, buddy? How many did you win? you know?
But I want to go back to what Elite was saying about Adam Silver. And yeah, Anthony, when you watch the draft, it's normal to boo at the commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
Because and I feel we should start booing Adam Silver because every
That dude looks
time,
weird. He doesn't even look like a human.
yeah, he is weird. I like everything he adds in, every like new role he adds in, like one role gets taken out. And like it's just I feel like Adam Silver's not doing a good job. The only thing that good that he's done was the bubble in Florida. That's the only good thing that he's done. And he took out the Christmas jerseys. Remember the Christmas jerseys, Elite? I miss
Yeah.
those. They should bring that back. And remember the finals decals? on the hardwood floors in the finals.
Yes.
They should bring that back. And
he
like
took out
you
hand
said,
checking.
it's
Let's
ratings.
bring back hand checking.
Yeah. You said the ratings. The ratings agree, Elite. I couldn't agree more because in the bubble, remember more Eastern Conference teams. I'm sorry, less Eastern Conference team went into the bubble, and there was like 3 more Western Conference teams. And then among those was Phoenix because they're very marketable, and then New Orleans because they're trying to breed Zion into like, oh, he's gonna be the next LeBron. He's gonna be the face of the franchise. When they couldn't win. They sucked. Yeah. And then so I'm like, yeah, it's all marketing. And then like I'm like, the Atlanta Hawks could have, that was supposed to be their spot. And then like Trey was still up and coming. Like he's not back then what he was like a year ago compared to who he is now, but he was starting to get there. And then remember, the Suns won 7 in a row. They went undefeated the bubble, but they still got eliminated because a certain team had to win and this and that. So I'm like, well, what's the point? Like you worked your butt off, went undefeated in the bubble to hope, to squeeze in a playoff opportunity. And then they're like, oh no, because a certain team didn't win. Like you're out.
So,
even though that team won and lost a game.
And so they're keeping the play-in games for next year, like they did this year, which, whatever, it is what it is. But I look at it, I sit and say, basketball to me, as an older person, do you know when I watch a basketball game? The last 2 minutes of the game. I don't give a shit what happens in the first
I agree.
38 minutes.
I agree.
Because the reality is, it doesn't matter anymore. It's all about who can hit the most threes and who can do this. Nobody plays defense
who scores
anymore.
less, yeah.
Nobody plays. It's one of the reasons the first couple games when our guys were playing internationally, they were having problems because you can check and you can play differently. These guys, international teams, are playing D on them, and they're not used to somebody pressing up on them. And that's the main reason I stopped watching basketball the late 2000s. Like 2009, 2000. I stopped watching it for a long period of time because I got sick and tired of nobody. The last guy I think played serious defense in the league was Kevin Garnett. That's the last guy that I think gave out 110% defensively in every game. So we're talking the time period when Timmy Duncan and Kevin Garnett, Kobe Bean Bryant, I mean, those guys played D.
Okay, so as we mentioned before in this podcast, Anthony has no knowledge of the NBA.
0 idea.
And so me and Elite
amazing.
Would like to try and quiz you on your like limited to none knowledge. So
let's do it.
The first question I can ask is, how many players are there on a court? Not in total, but on one team.
Oh, wow.
Not including opposing team. Like one team.
No, I know. Like you want to make one? Wow.
If you can't think of anything, just throw out a number.
I'm gonna throw out. I'm gonna say 60.
60?
Yeah.
There's only 5 players on the court. There's only like, I think, 14 on the roster.
I didn't even know there's 5 people in the court. If I'm being honest with you.
So what 5 positions are there?
Really? Next question on that one.
Yeah. Okay.
Gone.
So Elite got that question right. The NBA is one of the hardest teams to make it on because there are 15 players on the roster, 5 on the court, 5 on the bench, 2 reserves, and then 1 on call. So Anthony, how many rounds are there in the NBA draft?
I'm gonna say only 3. There's only 15. 3? 5.
I think it's 5.
No, wow. Both of you. No, both of you.
Whoa.
7?
Both of us are wrong.
2.
I was close.
2.
Yeah.
I was trying to say 2.
There are only 2 rounds in the NBA
Weird,
draft compared to the NFL's 7.
I know that.
Now, I will say I disagree with you on one thing. I think it's harder to play professional baseball than it is to play professional basketball.
I mean, well, Anthony's in the NFL world, so all he's known is NFL. Where like you can pick up guys in the 7th round, like Shannon Sharp was a 7th round pick. I think Stephon Diggs was a 6th round pick.
Oh, you mean you can pick up like a 10th rounder like Tom Brady?
I was about to say, or the greatest quarterback to ever live.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
So I got a question for you, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
How high is the rim from the floor on a basketball hoop?
Brunner, do you even know this one?
No, I don't even. I know it's more than a certain number. I know the minimum, like at parks and like backyard courts, but I don't know the maximum.
What's the minimum for backyard courts? Give me that.
No.
Is it 40? Okay.
No.
Yes.
60 inches?
60 inches? So you think it's 5 feet?
No, not 5 feet. No.
That's 60 inches.
No, man.
10 feet.
Dude, I don't even know how a basketball court is.
It's 10 feet.
I don't even know from a park. 10 feet?
10 feet.
Okay.
Rim to ground is 10 feet.
All right. Anthony, my next question for you is, how many fouls can a player commit till he is thrown out of the game?
I'm going to guess 3.
Close.
Going over too late.
2?
Before you foul out, you're allowed 5. You got 5 to give. 6th one, you're bye-bye.
Really?
Correct.
So as I say to Anna every game, Anna, don't forget, you got 5 to give. Give them away. You can't take them home with you.
It's true, man. You can't. There's gonna be. That's actually cool.
Yeah.
5.
So if you're committed, if you're called 6 times for a foul, you'll be thrown out of the game. You cannot come back. All right.
Or
my next question.
Two technicals. You're out of the game in one game.
A technical is the equivalent of a unsportsmanlike conduct.
Oh, no, it's not.
So you're allowed.
No, it's not. A technical is the equivalent of a personal foul.
Yeah, I'm sorry, personal foul. I mean, but like literally, into like the way it's been playing, it's unsportsmanlike, and like you can get technical for everything. But we can go into that another time. So my next question for Anthony is the max amount of jerseys a team can have in a single season.
Home away. Turn 4, 5. I'm gonna guess 5 or 4. 6.
Which one? 4, 5, or 6?
I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna guess 4.
Going over to elite.
I think it's
actually 5.
It's 5.
Fuck it.
It's 5. It's 5.
Yeah, because I just thought of classic. Because I thought 2 alternative, home and away, and then both for home and away alternative, and then
they have an alternate, and it's 5.
Yeah. So it's home and away, which for Anthony, if you don't know, in the NFL, which you're used to,
yes,
the teams that play at home, they wear whatever color jersey it is. But in the NBA, they wear their white jersey for home.
Yeah,
and then away
they
wear the different color.
And
then so it's a home jersey, away jersey, alternate, then a city edition, and then a earned. And you can earn, the only way a team can earn a 5th jersey is if they make the playoffs and they are awarded a 5th jersey.
Oh,
I got a question for you.
I know that. All right.
It's a 2-parter. Actually, it's 2 questions. What team has won the most NBA championships of any team?
I'm gonna just guess. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Miami Heat. I don't know. Lakers. I'm gonna guess Lakers.
Lakers.
All right. Let me give you 3 teams. All right. Heat, Lakers, Bulls.
No, and no. Lakers and Celtics are both tied with 17.
I was close with Lakers.
Okay.
Yeah. So you did get Lakers.
Celtics, though.
Yeah. So Lakers and Celtics have a 12-17 in the history of their franchise. the Miami Heat has 3 rings. And
three.
Total 3 in their history.
Bulls
and
have 6.
The Chicago Bulls, Bulls have 6.
Now, that being said, what player has the most rings of any player?
Brunner, do you know this one?
I do.
Really?
Elite's throwing some fastballs. I'm giving you some softballs.
Yeah.
Amen. Is it Bill Russell?
I don't think so. It is Bill Russell. He's got 11 rings.
I know what he is.
So literally, that Boston. Think about that. He played, I think, 13 years. He has 11 rings. They went 10 years straight, every year winning. That Celtics team.
Okay, damn. That's crazy, man. I want to ask you guys a question.
Okay.
You guys know everything.
Yes, the Philadelphia Eagles suck. Yes, we know that.
When's the last time the Steelers won a ring?
Oh, what? You mean what, more than one? How many rings you got?
The only one that matters. Look.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You have one that says Wentz? I don't know.
Are you Carson Wentz?
Never have that. I am Carson Wentz.
Where's he play now?
You know, good old fashioned Colts,
in the NFL.
Yeah, you know, in the NFL. North Dakota.
He's not eating a cheesesteak there, is he?
I actually saw him. Cheesesteak sounds good. Bet he loves it over there in Philly.
Okay. Well, I'm going to ask Anthony one more question.
Yeah, ask me a question.
Do you know what the NBA record is for most points scored in a game by a single individual?
70? I don't know. 80?
Going over to Elite.
Elite, yes.
100.
Damn. Ooh.
Wilt Chamberlain
in the 50s or 60s when they didn't even broadcast the game, and he scored 100 points. So the only record is like newspaper articles and a photo of Wilt Chamberlain, and that's it.
Wow. All right, ready, boys? Okay.
You want me to blow your mind, Brunner?
Blow the mind.
When I was a kid, they used to show NBA games on tape delay. They showed championship games on tape delay. Imagine watching the playoffs not live. It already happened, and they show it later.
All right, I got my question. So I know you guys probably know the answer to this. So who's going to go first? So whoever says, I don't know. Whoever just raises their hand first, I guess. Or says I. Ready? Who is the oldest MVP in NBA history? That is a good question. Got both of you thinking.
I know who the youngest player is.
All right, let's see who Elite thinks.
Elite, who is it?
LeBron James.
Really? It's
not LeBron James?
You guys mentioned his name many times here. He was in his Mount Rushmore.
It's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Both think. Yep. There you go. He got it.
I thought it's by different 1 year then.
All right. I'm going to ask one more. All right. One more. So, and only because Brunner says he knows it, who's the youngest NBA champion?
I don't know who youngest NBA I mean, NBA champion. I mean, if we really want to go there, like whatever team just drafted a rookie who's still like 19 years old, and then the team like won a champion. I have no idea. I know who the youngest MVP is. I don't know who the youngest NBA champion.
Right, who has the shortest career then? Do you guys know who has the shortest career in NBA history?
Yeah, some knucklehead got called up for one game. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. No, Anthony. Let me ask you this: how many teams are there in the NBA?
Okay. Okay. So there's 2 conferences, right?
Yes, an East and a West, similar to AFC, NFC. And
are there divisions?
Yes, but like nobody really cares about divisions. It's all about who wins.
They used to. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and guess. It's gonna be dumb number. 26. I don't know. No.
We'll move to elite.
How's
it not 20?
I think it's 30 or it's 32.
It's 30.
Yeah. Really?
15 and 15. Actually, yeah, it's 15 and 15.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right.
There's talk about making it 32 with bringing back Seattle and another team. So
wait, there's two teams that got lost, or what?
No, they're two, like how there used to be the Houston Oilers, and then they became the Titans. So there was the Seattle Supersonics, and then they became the Oklahoma City Thunder, and then there was the Vancouver Grizzlies, and then they moved them to Memphis.
And New Orleans originally was the New Orleans Jazz. They moved to Utah, and then they got another one. Charlotte Hornets used to be. Charlotte Hornets went to down to New Orleans for a minute too.
Yeah. Charlotte went to New Orleans, and then they became the Charlotte Bobcats, and then they went back to the Hornets.
Right. I mean, so they move around a lot in basketball, a lot more than in, I think, NFL teams. It seems, but there's talk because that was something interesting that just happened. I don't know. You guys are not in the Northeast. We watch a lot of hockey. So there's a team that's got an expansion team called the Seattle Kraken, and it's going to be a new hockey team.
I hate the name.
And,
they should have been the Frasers if it's in Seattle.
And they just got to do their expansion draft. Okay, so this is what the NHL did, and I think it's the stupidest thing in the world. I'm not a big hockey guy. I mean, I know basically the rules of it, and I know enough to be dangerous.
Watch it, right?
You know, my wife's grandfather played for the Bruins when he was younger.
Really?
So they're a big hockey family. And what they did with the Kraken was they got to pick one player off of every team in the NHL. One existing player, and that's their team for next year. Super team. And now every team got to protect 5 players. Now the one thing about hockey is hockey's a lot like basketball in the fact of you have a goalie, 2 defensemen, a center, and 2 wingers. They're called wingers, so they're on your right and left hand side. So these are basically forwards, then your defensemen, and then you have your goalie. So you have 6 men on the ice. Well, usually you have 3 lines of 5 because the goalie stays in the whole game. So what you try to do is you separate and say, hey, I'm going to put this center with these 2 wingers, and these guys have good chemistry, and these guys have good chemistry. So you separate it out and have good players. So if you take somebody like the Bruins, who's a pretty decent hockey team, they've been drafting and cultivating these people, and they just lost the guy. And so it might have blown up their whole line, one of their lines, it's just kind of stupid to me. I think
that's kind of a dumb rule, honestly. I think it's
kind of, I mean, I get it. You don't want to have them to go out and just find all free agents, et cetera, so forth. But think about, say, the Penguins, they got Sidney Crosby, and they get this, then they got Malkin, who's another phenom. What if they were only allowed to protect one person? They lose one of their best players. It just, I couldn't picture we're going to do an expansion team in the NBA or the NFL. And could you picture the NFL and say, oh, you could pick one player off every team? Okay, I'll take Tom Brady and I'll take this.
Oh yeah, I'll take Tom Brady. Yeah, I'll
take DeAndre Hopkins.
Devontae. Yeah, I go take Devontae, and then I'll go get Saquon.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So that's a great point. You little joke just there. So COVID protocol, NFL.
Okay.
So
DeAndre Hopkins might leave the NFL.
He pulled that tweet off quicker than he went up, dude. Trust me, he ain't going anywhere. Thoughts. I personally, as being the person in the room who had COVID, these guys are making multi-million dollars. Take the jab. It's a business. They can't have like they did last year. The Steelers kind of got fucked last year. Me as being the Steelers fan, I'm not trying to come up with excuses because the second half of the season they played like shit. They never had a bye week. They had to take a bye week really remember they were playing games on Tuesdays and this and that. Steelers fell into that all year. And their bye week they had to take was like in week 2 because somebody had COVID. I think it was the Ravens or somebody had COVID. Titans.
It was
it was the Ravens. It was the Ravens.
Yeah,
they wanted to protect Lamar.
And and so we never really got a bye week.
Yeah, I want to add something real quick. It was late, and then I remember your tight end Eric Ebron. He's like, I'm so angry because my kid's birthday was on that bye week, and now it has to get pushed, so I can't be there. Like,
yeah, and it's like, and I mean the whole idea of the bye week is they usually don't start them until week 5. So you basically have already played almost half a season, so you get a week to kind of rehab. And they had to take theirs like right in the beginning, and then they basically went, 14 games straight. Some of those where they only had like a 3-day rest on one game, I remember. And it was just like
I remember when the Bucks did that. Remember when there was like a Miami and Tampa had to play, there was like a hurricane. They had to take their bye week 1, I believe.
Yeah.
And they had to play. Yeah, it's the same thing with Steelers. And like you said, I think you guys even lost that game, and you guys played Washington when you moved it to Tuesday to Wednesday. Yeah, and then
and that
I'm not sure. I think you still managed to beat Baltimore, but it was a hard game.
And that started the whole spin down at the end of the season. And the reality was, I'm not saying just because Steelers didn't have the team to go the distance anyway. It is what it is. That wasn't their team last year. But I mean, they started off strong, and then they
weren't going to beat Brady in the Super Bowl.
It was
like, you know what I mean? No.
Oh, okay. First of all, let's don't even fucking talk Brady in the Super Bowl.
Hold on.
Brady didn't do dick in the Super Bowl.
Before we go,
okay.
Before we go down rabbit hole,
that Buccaneers defense has carried them.
Before we go down rabbit hole, I understand why these guys just won't take a shot. It's like, it's like you get hit by. I mean, I know they don't play with them now, but like you get hit by, like, if they played back then, it's like, you'd get hit by Ray Lewis, but you don't want to take a COVID shot. You know what I mean? It's like, so you get hit by, a 250-pound linebacker, but you don't want to get a shot in the arm that takes less than 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me ask you.
And the league even said they make millions.
Brunner, you had your first shot, right?
Yes.
Have you had your second yet?
No.
Okay. When do you have your second?
I think next week. Next week I'm due.
Okay. And have you had your shot yet, Anthony? No jab for Anthony. Okay. And it
jab, yeah.
It's to look at. I'm just telling you. To me, is it blows my mind. It just blows my mind.
Oh, like, COVID?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It just blows my mind.
These
guys would say, I'm willing to walk away from $1 million because of whatever. And the reality is, man, my dad was, when I was a kid, my dad was in the military, and we were on. I probably had more shit shot in my arm that I don't even know what the hey it is. And it's like, whatever. And I don't know. I just don't understand. It just blows my mind. Like, there was a guy, the Patriots fired a guy today because he refused to get a shot.
Vikings too.
So they fired a coach today. So you gave up a job because you refused to get a shot. It's just
like you refused, like you gave up millions for one shot.
And the reality is, now you had a job in a pretty small it's a pretty small world. There's 32 teams. 32 teams. If you're known as a troublemaker, you think any of those other 31 teams are going to pick up the phone and give you a call?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Dallas.
Yeah, maybe Dallas. Yeah,
but it's like, I look at it, I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah, that dude will be lucky to be coaching a Division III school.
Exactly, and it's like, and now colleges. I mean, you see what colleges are doing. Colleges are requiring private college. They're requiring you to have a COVID shot. So Notre Dame is requiring people to have COVID vaccines.
Yeah.
State colleges are recommending it, but they can't because it's a private school. I'm not a private school, but if you don't, you have to, everywhere you go, got to wear a mask. I'll be honest with you, the greatest thing in the world, you got to take the damn mask off.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know if people are running around. Well, you guys are in Texas where everything's crazy. Nobody's.
Oh yeah. Nobody gives a shit.
They don't care, man. But like up here in the Northeast, They're like, no, man, there's still places people are. I went the other day to the orthodontist. Still had to wear a dang mask. I'm fully vaccinated.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, man, that was today at IKEA. Everybody had to wear a mask. Walk around for
in
a mask. See how that feels.
I wish they were a little stricter like that. I mean, not now. I mean, of course it helps to be a little strict, but like even like when it was still pretty high, like a couple months ago, like 3 or 4 months ago, where like numbers were still high. It's like I don't like understand like why they wouldn't get it. And not only that too, I was surprised how quick it was. Was it quick for you, Elite?
What, to get a shot?
I mean, not the waiting process, like, but like the actual shot itself. It was just like a boop. All right, that's it. See you in 2 weeks.
And then you just had to sit there for 15 minutes in case you passed out, and then you're out the door. And I mean, I got really sick from both my vaccines, but that's because I had COVID before. So
yeah, I didn't wait. There was no waiting here for me. I just straight up.
No. Yeah,
El Paso, they just do everything different down there. Yeah. You didn't get a vaccine, really you got water, dude.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was a waiting room, but like I wasn't driving. So like I just showed up, I already filled out the online information, and they're like, "What's your birthday again?" And then that's when I got the card. Like, all right, wait till they called you. Wait about like 5 minutes, maybe less than that. Shrek was playing on TV, so I was just watching that. Then they called my name.
Nice.
And then I'm like, oh man, this is gonna hurt, or it's like gonna take a while. And then they're like, that's it. You're done. And I'm like,
did it hurt?
I mean, yeah, of course it hurt. It's a needle going to your arm.
It didn't hurt. It didn't hurt at all, actually. It hurt like later on, man. My arm was pretty sore, but I'm interested to see how it's gonna be.
Yeah, I was sore.
So my daughter's going to Paris, France.
Oh, wow.
So I'm kind of seeing how that's going to be kind of interesting to see. I wonder what their whole like COVID protocol and everything is. So, but
I know I was watching this guy on YouTube, and he just recently moved to Australia, and him and his family had to be quarantined. Like they put him in a hotel, and they're like, "All right, you have to be here for 15 days, and we're gonna come and swab you like once or twice a day." And then he was talking about, he's like, I got my vaccine. Like, the kids are still too young, but he's like, apparently down here they don't have as many vaccines as they do in America, which is crazy.
Has anybody ever had a COVID test?
No.
Dude, that is the craziest thing in the world, man. That Q-tip, I think, touched my brain.
Damn.
And I had like 4 of them, man. It was the worst, man. Like literally they put that thing in, they're swabbing it around. I start crying. Like it's like not like crying, but like you're tearing up because they're touching like your tear ducts. And you're like, God damn. Yeah, that thing was
change, man.
Dude, I swear they touched my brain. They gave it a little
I wonder no wonder the players don't want to do it. Skip the vaccine, man.
Dude, I'd rather have the vaccine. If you're vaccinated, I don't have to take the test. You're vaccinated.
Yeah, Yeah, that's what they said. They said, unvaccinated players have to get daily tests, and they have to be, like away from the unvaccinated people. And the vaccinated people, they can go out, hang in, the mess hall, hang out with each other, be close to each other, and goof off and shit like that.
It doesn't make sense. So let's just be like simple. As a former football player, you walk over to this thing called a huddle. You're basically cheek to cheek with everybody in there talking about whatever play you're going to do. So you're going to have one unvaccinated guy up in there breathing on people and stuff, spitting around, and it just is stupid.
Right?
It makes no sense. It's like, so literally, if I owned a team, I would sit and say, we're making a financial decision. You have to be vaccinated. If you choose not to get vaccinated, okay, that's great. Here's your release paper. Or put them on. Last year they had that COVID protocol, the COVID thing, the COVID list, the PUP list.
Yeah.
Player unable to play. See you later. And I'm paying. Paying you minimums. I'm not paying you.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Oh, yeah, don't pay him and then see you later. Speaking of see you later, honestly, Rodgers, he's leaving.
I don't.
He's leaving. Brunner has a Rodgers shirt. And Brunner actually has something to say about Rodgers. What do you want to say about Rodgers?
Where do I start?
I don't know. Start at the beginning.
He's gone, man. He's gone.
So it all started with, the Schefter thing on draft day. Like, Aaron wants out. I was like, well, we don't know that yet because it hasn't come from the horse's mouth. He hasn't publicly said, I want out. It's all been, oh, this person from this management team heard this thing from the other thing. So I'm like, you know what? There's like no way. And then they're asking him, like, well, who's going to be, wearing number 12 against the Bears? And he's like, I don't know. We'll see. So I'm like, well, is Aaron, because Aaron has a sick sense of humor. Like, he likes to troll a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and the like Packer fans don't get that. And then they're like, oh, he's a bad leader. He's a bad teammate. And I'm like, bro, he's not a bad leader. Amazing leader. Amazing teammate. And this man won you a Super Bowl. I know it was a long time ago. I know it was only one, but teams in this league would die just to have a Super Bowl banner in their football
Falcons.
Game. Just to say, I have, the Falcons.
Eagles.
Here you have one. We have one.
If Matthew Stafford won them the Super Bowl, they would kiss the ground Matthew Stafford walked on. So that's my problem. And that's why I didn't want the Bucs to win. Because I'm like, these are the same ungrateful bitches who, are getting mad at Aaron Rodgers. And then, so as of recording this, it came out today saying, Ian Rappaport tweeted saying, Davante Adams, and the front office are done talking about contract extensions. They are on bad terms. So I was like,
he wants out. Basically, he wants out.
Yeah. So I'm like, I kind of get it. I don't know why people aren't putting 2 and 2 together. Because how many times have I told you that the Packers president and GM is a terrible GM? I've said, terrible. I'm like, yeah, he's got a Howie type beat.
He's almost as bad. No one could beat Howie though. Howie Roseman's fucking worst GM in the NFL.
And then I would send you clips during the game of like Packers players not named Davante Adams dropping the football, and Aaron Rodgers would literally throw it directly at their chest, and all they have to do is hold on to it. That's all they have to do, and then they drop the pass. And so I'm like, we need, to get Aaron Rodgers some help. And then when they lost the NFC Championship again, I'm like, yeah, that's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome. When Packers didn't have anybody to help out Rodgers, we've been mostly healthy. And then I saw other teams, like I get, other teams pop up on my Instagram feeds. And I saw the football team. They're like, some guy made like a fake trade. Like, should we trade these two players? The football team.
You mean Washington Redskins?
The Washington football team. Yes. And they're like, it was an edge rusher. Yes, it was an edge rusher and some like linemen, offensive linemen. And he's like, do you think, this would be a good idea? And I was going to go in the comments and be like, if you want Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have to give up Chase Young.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's not go crazy. You're not giving up Chase Young for Aaron Rodgers. Okay.
Okay.
Let's not go crazy.
Okay. But and then so I go in the comments. I'm like, what's people saying? And they're like, oh, he's not worth it. He's 36 years old. I'm like, dude just won the MVP. He went to the Super Bowl 2 years. I mean, not Super Bowl, NFC Championship 2 years in a row. I'm like, your current quarterback is Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has been on at least half of the teams in the NFL. And the other backup is another older guy who likes to run and dive for the pylon. Like, you almost beat the Buccaneers. So imagine if you had Aaron Rodgers.
And it's not only that, but it's like every veteran quarterback that goes to the second team ends up winning a Super Bowl. Peyton Manning, who else? Tom Brady.
Think about that.
Who else been?
This is my thought with the whole Aaron Rodgers. Is I 110% support Aaron Rodgers. Okay,
me too. I agree.
For years upon years upon years, he's asked for help, and he I don't know where he falls in like paid players like where he is, but I don't think his contract's massive. I think it's decent, but I don't think it's massive. And how do you?
Let me hold on. I'm gonna stop you right there. I'll let you continue. But so I don't know if you guys saw there was a tweet from Rappaport, not Rappaport, Schefter saying, yeah, he denied a 2-year extension, making him the highest paid in the NFL. So think about it, 2 years. So he has 3 years left, right?
It's over Dak.
Yeah. So he has 3 years left. So if he said so in the timeline, in the what if he did sign that 2 years and he did continue playing for the Packers, then what was the point of Jordan Love? Because his contract would have been up too. So you would have just drafted Jordan Love, again, proving the point. Like, why did they draft Jordan Love to begin with?
That's a good point.
They moved up to draft him. So if Aaron Rodgers signed that 2-year extension, he would have played for 5 years. Now, how many years, including this upcoming season, does Jordan Love have left? He has 4 years left. Because his rookie season, he didn't even put pads on.
Wow.
This last season didn't even put pads on.
Yeah, I just thought last year was his rookie season, right?
Yeah. So last year was his rookie season. So if Aaron Rodgers signs, do the math. So 5 is greater than 4. So why?
Yes. So they would have to pay him his contract extension or let him go in free agency. Yeah, that sucks. You're right. I didn't think about that. Honestly, I really didn't think about that.
Yeah, some dude's like, stop judging Jordan Love because he hasn't played yet. And then the guy's like in the comments and Twitter, he's like, do the math. You know, if Aaron signed it, you know, both of their contracts would have been up. Elite, did you want to say something?
Oh, all I was going to say is I don't understand the Packers. I don't understand them.
I don't either.
You know, I look at it and I sit and say, you know, I'm a fan of probably one of the most storied franchises in the NFL. They get it. You know, they build up on the defensive side of the ball, and then they usually get a thumper as a running back, a fairly decent quarterback, and a couple receivers,
running back,
and then they win 14 games. It's what they do, you know. And the Packers actually beat my Steelers for that Super Bowl ring you speak of. Okay.
Yes.
And that was a pretty close game. It's 31-25. It came down to it, like right down to the wire. And I'll give it to you. Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Big Ben Roethlisberger.
Whoa.
By far. Better quarterback.
Got that live.
But the reality is Big Ben's going to probably walk away with more wins, more yards. First ballot, definitely already has more rings, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers probably will be too. But I think right now Big Ben is 3rd all-time list or 4th all-time list for passing. But the thing is, what they've done with Big Ben is they kind of got away from the running back position. We had Le'Veon Bell, which was but he was also as many all-purpose yards receiving as he was running. And then we had Brown, and we had, you know, Juju, and we've had a couple other cats here and there. How many times have you seen Big Ben throw 60, 70-yard passes?
Hardly ever. Not since, honestly, that 2017.
You mean hardly ever? He throws them all the
divisional
time.
AFC championship.
He throws bombs all the time, dude. That's his thing. Is he throws, and then these guys just run. Antonio Brown, it was like almost like just a go route and see how fast you are, and just throw it out. But what they did is they would constantly go back to the well and get him more players because they realized his time.
Oh yeah, he always had.
So
he always had weapons.
Think about our tight end situation. We had this guy named Jesse James. What did they do? They tried out another guy who wasn't all that. I forget his name. And then then they went and got Eric Ebron, arguably one of the better tight ends in the league. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And they're like, okay, we're going to put him in there. So there's proof out there that Aaron Rodgers said, I'll take a pay cut. I'll renegotiate my contract. We need to get help offensive. Oh, we're going to draft a quarterback. What the hell is that saying? Then this year, this last 21 draft, first draft, a freaking a cornerback. They didn't go get a receiver till the 3rd round. And that was the only offensive player they picked up. I don't know where they drafted the El Paso, their marijuana boy. I don't know where they
drafted him in the 5th round.
Okay. And so, I mean, that's going to work out.
And even then,
he's doing good.
And even then, he's injury prone. He's injury prone, though.
But, I mean, but last year, I think he led the league in rushing, didn't he?
No. I think it was Derrick Henry, but there's another 2000.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Derrick Henry, that's right.
Yeah, there's no way. Yeah.
But he did really well, right? Like last year, he was right there. I think he had the most touchdowns. He was tied for most touchdowns.
Yeah.
And so you look at it, it's like, so you have Devontae Adams, and you have Jones. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hard pressed to say I don't know who your tight end is. I don't know who I don't know who your 2 and 3 receivers. I don't know if you're running a fullback coming out to pick up that when you're throwing that veer and you're kind of have somebody coming out to pick up that block. You let one of the best offensive linemen in the game go.
Yeah.
I'm like,
this is the Chargers thing, bro.
Yeah, it's not only that. It's like, how are you gonna help your future quarterback too?
It's like you got to keep the dude upright. I don't know.
Least, right?
If it was me and I was Aaron Jones.
I mean, Brady. Look at Brady too. He's always had weapons.
That's not true. He went some years. In all honesty, Brady went some years with some shitty. Deion Branch is not a weapon, dude. Okay, let's call it. Let's call it.
They went out and grabbed Randy Moss.
Yeah, and he didn't. And you know what's funny? The year he had the best weapon,
they lost to the Patriots. I mean, they lost to the Patriots.
They lost to the Giants. No, he lost the Giants one year, and then the Jets beat him in the championship with the 1 year with Moss.
Wow.
In the playoffs, and so it's like literally you look at it. It's when I look at it, I sit and say, if I was Aaron Rodgers, if he called me and said, "Hey, you know what? You're my agent. What should you do? You should get the hell out of Dodge because the Packers don't care." This is a franchise that basically told Lombardi, "Your time is up here." Lombardi, the dude they named the trophy after, your time is up here. Time to move on. Everybody forgets that Vince Lombardi's last year of coaching Washington Redskins. And I think that shit only happens, Stan. You can't do that. Do you think right now about the Giant? Do you think that Rooney would be given a call down? Or do you think that Miro would be given a call down and saying, what the hell? Sign the game.
So T.Y. Hilton, he talked about his experience in the offseason, and he said he's moments away from signing with the Baltimore Ravens, Jim Irsay. And right when he was about to sign with the Baltimore Ravens was a better offer than he was offered before. And sure enough, he took it.
And think about that. Like, do you think about what's the dude's name down there? I can't believe I can't remember his name. Numbnuts in Dallas. Who's Dallas
Jerry
owner?
Jones.
Jerry Jones. Think about Jerry Jones. If he had Aaron, dude, he just signed Dak Prescott. This amount of changing Dak Prescott got that kind of money. Dak freaking Prescott, dude.
What do
you think he would have done with Aaron Jones?
Imagine if he had Jerry Jones.
Dude, that guy can't run a team for beat.
I deserve
Dak Prescott. I'm just
imagine. Dak Prescott is not worth it. That was not worth all that money. I'll tell you that right now. I think Dak Prescott was like overhyped.
Did you hear about Lamar Jackson?
I did.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get like $45 million a year.
What?
$45 million a year, dude. The guy can't throw a ball. The guy cannot. Last year sucked ass once they started saying, "Okay, we're just gonna stay in the box." What happened? Done. That dude, make him throw the ball. They sucks. 45 million. 45 million. He's a one-trick pony.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson. Oh yeah, he's figured out already. I don't know why. I don't even know why they try with him. $45 million a year.
I want to add something. Another rumor that came out about the Aaron Rodgers thing was he's like, it was from his former wide receiver James Jones, and he's like, I think Aaron's saying like, I don't care who you bring in, but let me just have some input on the guys I want to keep. And James Jones said like, you like they let go of Jordy Nelson, they let go of Randall Cobb, They let go of like a bunch of other dudes. They let go of Clay Matthews. And then he said, just because a guy can, just because a guy's a little faster than Jordy Nelson doesn't mean they're going to have the same connection.
I agree.
That him and Aaron Rodgers are going to have. He's like, Jordy Nelson could literally finish Aaron Rodgers' sentences, but just because the guy's a little faster than him, the connection, it's not going to translate. And he talked about, because he went to New York for a bit, and he said like, it's tough for free agents going to Green Bay because when you go to New York, you land in New York, you see that beautiful New York skyline, and then when you go to Green Bay, there's nothing. It's just all like nothing. And then so I'm like, yeah. I'm like, when teams go to Green Bay, they sign because who's the quarterback? It's Aaron Rodgers. He's the reason that people will come.
Oh yeah, that's the only reason why. And the stadium.
It's yeah. I don't know, man. You couldn't pay me enough money to go to Green Bay and be in Green Bay. It just wouldn't happen. I'd retire. It just.
Well, all right. Here, I'll end off with this final question, and we gotta wrap this up pretty soon. Elite, who would you rather stay with? Philadelphia. Huh? Who would you rather be with, Philadelphia or Green Bay?
Wow, that's a tough question.
I wouldn't want to be in Philadelphia.
Oh,
so I don't.
I could stay and lose.
You can be comfortable and lose
in Philadelphia. Or I could go. Or I could go to Green Bay, freeze my nays off. You know what? I'd probably go to Green Bay because I don't want to get hit with a battery.
And not only that, but you won't get booed.
So I'll tell you a little funny story. Last little story I'll tell tonight. Many, many, many years ago, when I was a little kid, I went to the old Veteran Stadium where they used to hold the old Army Navy games. It looked the old vet, the original vet, and I saw the Philadelphia Eagles play back when they were Kelly Green Eagles. Okay,
this is the original turf from the vet.
I went there and I saw a game. I have never.
Just no elite. Wait, original turf from the vet right here.
I have never seen people in my lifetime so brutal to a team. Now, granted, Philadelphia sucked at the time, and I was there to see the Steelers, and but they were brutal, man, to their team.
We boo them.
Brutal.
We boo them.
Dude, there used to be a jail in the vet. There used to be a jail in the vet and a judge for people that were arrested at the game. They had a judge on staff. Go figure that. Only in Philly.
That's not cool. Only in Philly. Oh yeah. And it says right here the last game and everything.
That. He's got a piece of grass. He's got a piece of grass
That's
in his
room. only in Philly there's a jail cell. And I love it. Actually, it's turf.
So a buddy of mine, he was a big Indians fan. And he got, when they ripped down Municipal Stadium, he got chairs. He has 4 chairs, like the 4 chairs from the whole Municipal Stadium.
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, those are so cool. He goes, yeah, I can't do anything with them because they got lead paint on them.
I saw.
I'm like, cool. Don't let your kid lick them.
I saw at the Raiders last game, some dude posted on Instagram, like of people taking the seats, literally ripping them off.
Yeah.
I saw that too, yeah.
But which is weird because somebody else
I would.
The A's play there, don't they?
I don't think so. No, they don't play there.
They play at the Coliseum.
No, they play at that Raymond.
Oh, they play at the new. They have a new place. They have a new place, right? Aaron, Ricky Henderson Field or something.
Wow, I didn't even know they had a place. Why are they?
No, I think they still call it the Coliseum, dude. Because I think that's why they want to move to Vegas. I'm gonna look it up. They're trying to move to Vegas too.
They want to follow the Raiders to Vegas.
Yeah. Oakland A's Stadium.
The baseball team.
Ring Central Coliseum.
It's like the Raiders can't fucking escape this baseball team for shit. Poor Raiders, man.
Yes, they play at the Coliseum, dude. They call it Ricky Henderson Field, but they basically changed the surface over. But it's basically the same shitty ring that's been there since fucking forever. It's a shitty field. It is a shitty field. Dude, there's rats in there as big as my desk. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's not even a rat. It's a dog.
Yeah, well, it probably could be a Chihuahua. Who knows?
Oh, yeah. What?
Hey,
What's
so
I don't
did
know.
you guys
You
how many did you go to a lot of Chihuahuas games? Yeah. Did you ever see Tatis when he played in Chihuahua in El Paso?
That's the one
That's
I
the
just
kid.
hit the.
No, that's
no.
That's the guy who's like the star right now of the MLB, and he's the star of San Diego.
I had no idea you played here. I wish, if only.
He would have played there probably 3 or 4 years ago.
I didn't see him, but my little brother did. Because I remember actually that he said that. Because my little brother he's a hardcore into baseball. He was telling me that. Yeah, I didn't get to see him, but my little brother did.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about it. And then Jack just kind of reminded me. He's like, "Hey, the Chihuahuas are San Diego's farm team." And I was like, "Oh shit, I totally forgot."
I still understand.
Yeah, we are the farm
Let's tear down City Hall and build a farm team for a farm team. Not even a real team. I just don't get that.
I mean, it has boosted like
no, but I mean, like
whichever.
literally just tear down Chihuahua Stadium and just build up. You know what I mean?
I don't know how.
It's on the west. The Diablo Stadium. No, I was saying Diablo Stadium is on the rich part of town, so you have the more affluent people going to.
I never played there, so I can't tell you anything like how the stadium was. But I mean,
because
I know there's some really nice stadiums in Texas.
Well, because I'm saying is because the stadium is built in the center of downtown, and you might think, well, like, oh, that's normal. You know, they build stadiums downtown, but our downtown is small. That's why.
Oh yeah,
and the Diablo Stadium is literally just in a huge part of desert.
Yeah, I was like 4 out in the desert,
like acres and acres of empty desert.
Yeah,
and they're like, let's build it in a congested small downtown.
Like they literally just switched. It's like what? Made no sense.
So it's weird. I can tell you from an experience of like where Portland, the Sea Dogs, where I showed you that field was. That's right in downtown Portland, Maine. It's pretty cool. Boston, Fenway's in the middle of downtown. It's in It's one of the few stadiums that's actually in a city. It's right. It's built. The neighborhood's built around. It's called the Fenway. It's district. It's Fenway District. That's why it's called Fenway Park. They did that same one in Wrigley's that way. Trying to think, but most of them I've ever been to are kind of usually out. You take the highway, like San Antonio. San Antonio was that way. Alamo Field, it was out. Did you ever seen I assume you've seen where the Alamo is, where the not the Alamo, but where the Spurs play, right? You seen it. They have a farm team right next to them. There's a field right next to that. And it's like out. You take the highway to get out there. It's like it's not.
You gotta get elite
downtown.
To come to a Chihuahuas game one day. We gotta see his react. We gotta try that nacho bowl.
We pick him up from the airport. We pick elite up from the airport. First thing we're going straight to Whataburger. Am I right?
Yeah, straight to Whataburger. Yeah, and then dinner's cheap.
Dude, I'm telling you, man. I played for some fucking weird teams, dude. Played for some weird teams. Names.
Yeah,
it is.
You guys take a picture with Chico.
And I'm like, dude, what in the but then it kind of makes sense because I think Brunner was the one telling me. So Juarez, Mexico is in Chihuahua, Mexico. It's like the province or county or whatever it's called, Chihuahua.
Like a state.
And so it makes sense. It makes sense. They're called the Chihuahuas because they're right next. And I assume probably during the season in non-COVID, they probably get a large Mexican population come and watch games.
Especially people from Juarez. Yeah.
You know, because Mexicans love baseball. Mexicans love baseball. It is what it is.
Yeah, and then,
but it's like it just blows my mind. Is
not only that, but a lot of people.
I don't know, man. It's that little dog thing that just kind of like I don't like the little dog, man. And like I said, I played for some dumb rail splitters.
I'm telling you, man. I got used to it, just to the point where I'm just like, yeah, it's so dumb. I like it, honestly.
But then again, what's a sea dog either?
Too, well, I know sea dogs are like sea lions, basically. So.
Yeah, they're like a little.
That actually makes more sense. I have a Chihuahua hat there. 2 days to go get it though.
I want to go, Anthony. You went to the Chihuahuas game when they were in the throwbacks, which was
they're in the Diablos.
I want to go to the shop, see if I can snag a Diablos hat, and maybe we'll get one for elite, and we'll go to our local Target.
Yeah. There's like
we'll go to our local
there,
Target, and we'll go to our local Walmart, and we'll get Elite the El Paso starter pack, which is Cowboys polo, UTEP polo.
I'm not buying that Cowboys polo. I'm
It's
telling you right now, I'm not buying.
Shit.
I'm not buying that Cowboys polo. I'm telling you right now,
dude. So the starter pack for us up here in the great state of Maine is a Red Sox hat, Patriots sweatshirt with a cut off sleeves, so you can look like Bill Belichick, and a Bruins sweater. Like that's kind of like what everybody's
I like
got,
that idea, Bruno. Actually, the Chihuahuas in their because their shop is open like during the day. Like we could go down there and go to the gift shop, and they have Diablos hats right there. So we'll get them a Diablos hat, and then we'll get them a UTEP shirt, and then we'll go to Chico's. We'll send them a Chico's plate, not like a food,
Chico's
but like not the food, but just like
we'll get them some packet of sauces like in the little tiny.
Yeah, we'll do that, and then we'll ask.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, UTEP. Dude, what are UTEP? The Miners?
Yes.
UTEP. Miners. I never been to I don't like UTEP. I don't think I support UTEP based off that.
And UTEP is such a weird campus because they got redesigned, and like
it's in the mountains.
Yeah, and it went for some like East Asian thing. I forgot. There's a certain name.
Oh yeah.
So it's like East Asia. Yeah, I just saw Lee's face.
Like Feng Shui.
Not like Feng Shui.
Yeah, so Feng Shui.
Yeah, it's somewhat Feng Shui, and like it's just weird. Like they have like looks like later Ghost of Tsushima stuff. Not very heavily Japanese, but it's Asian influence.
Weird.
It does.
Yeah, I'm like, what a perfect place to put, an Asian influenced college campus is in the middle of a desert in the mountains.
So how far is UTEP from Alameda, or where's the university? Where's the University of New Mexico?
It's in Las Cruces.
New Mexico.
It's in Las Cruces. New Mexico.
Yeah. How far is that?
2 hours.
Okay.
2 hours, depending where you live.
Because like from where I used to live on the west side, because when we used to go furniture shopping in Las Cruces, and we'd pass the school, we'd pass it.
Yeah,
so
that's like the first thing you see when you go to Las Cruces.
Yeah, so it's like 45 minutes away from there. So I bet it's like an hour and a half or two from UTEP.
Yeah, I agree. It's like 45 minutes.
UTEP might move. UTEP might move up. You know that, right? You heard about that, right?
No.
What?
So, big news in Texas. I can't believe you guys didn't hear this. So you know how like the big schools in Texas, A&M, well A&M's SEC now, but UT and TCU and Oklahoma, they're all Big 10, Big 12 schools.
Yeah, I heard they want to move.
Okay. So UT, Austin, and Oklahoma are going to the SEC. They're willing to pay massive money to go to the SEC. It's only going to leave 8 schools. So maybe UTEP will move out of the Conference USA and have to start playing. It might be good for them, because right now they're playing like smaller schools.
They're playing ball, but we're losing to them. wait.
So
what makes you think we're gonna win?
Yeah, exactly.
We're losing to them.
Good.
We're losing to them though.
We're just gonna be the laughing stock of national television now instead of local television.
Yeah, you guys went 5-9. I just saw last year was a 5-9 or 4.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't go to UTEP games.
Let me see how my boys over in South Bend did last year.
If we move divisions, our ticket prices are going to go from $13 to maybe $23 now. I mean,
no, they wouldn't go that. They wouldn't go that high. You go see a Georgia game for like $15.
Right, Anthony. Anthony can agree how like dirt cheap UTEP tickets are. They sell them at gas stations.
Yeah, they're dirt cheap. Yeah, they do. What a wild tickets.
Yeah, they sell them at Circle K. I don't know if you know what Circle K's are.
I noticed. I know what Circle K is.
Yeah, they sell them at Circle K's, and then like the gas station attendants, like we'll show you the little map up to like, all right, what section do you want?
Yeah. They don't even work in the fucking stadium, and they're over showing me what.
Yeah, because USC came to the Sun Bowl. We played Georgia Tech And so me and my dad went, and we bought our tickets at a Circle K.
That's crazy to me.
Hey, ain't no Ticketmaster.
Yeah, ain't no Ticketmaster.
You just go down and Circle K.
Yeah, exactly. No SeatGeek.
Tickets.
Just go put gas and buy.
You guys
tickets.
went.
Yeah.
You guys went 5-9. My boys went 10-2 and lost in a championship game.
There you go. All right, though, but I think we should wrap it up here. Any closing remarks though?
No, sir.
From any of you guys?
No, it's gonna be a lot of editing for Brunner.